So this is an overview of my LT swapped 80 series Land Cruiser. So this truck started life as a 1996 Lexus LX 450. So the Lexus cousin of the 80 series Toyota Land Cruiser. I bought it about 2 years ago from the original owner. From there, I had the original 1FZ FE inline 6. A ton of maintenance, leaked every fluid possible. I kind of patched it together as good as I could before deciding it was just kind of too far gone at 385,000 miles. So the decision was made to figure something else out. So originally I was going to go LS in maybe a 6L transmission. And then I started some research and found the LTs, specifically this one here. So this is a L86. So it is the 6.2 liter all aluminum, obviously V8. It's 420 horse, 460 torque, I believe. And it's mated to GM's 10L80 transmission. So what got me originally on the idea of doing the LT versus the LS is I came across Torfab's Gen 5 LT conversion kit for the Land Cruiser, specifically the 80 series. So with his kit, it is a full bolt-in application, and I can tell you that it bolts in. So his motor mounts are pretty smart. They bolt into the factory location on the block, and then those bolt to the factory location on the frame on the Land Cruiser. From there, he has his own adapter that adapts the four-wheel drive version. That's important. You have to have the four-wheel drive version of the 10L80. It adapts that four-wheel drive 10L80 to the factory Toyota transfer case via his adapter plate and output sleeve. Or output shaft extension, however you want to look at it. And it puts all of that in a factory location where your factory Toyota drive lines will still work. I did end up doing a CJ Tatton front drive shaft because obviously this is a lifted 80 series, so I wanted a little more room with that front drive shaft. I'm currently running an Old Man Emu J-spring lift and shocks, and aftermarket sway bars. So having it a little bit taller, which means it stretches those drive shafts out a little bit, I wanted a little more peace of mind there. And the double cardan helps with some vibration issues. So that got it all installed using that Torfab kit. From there, I went with SwapTime. Okay, Mitch over at SwapTime is he's a whiz with these Gen 5 LTs. It's kind of his bread and butter. So you take your factory harness, your factory computers, and you send those to Mitch, and he does a conversion on them. You fill out a quick Google form, tell him kind of what your plan is. I think he kind of tailors this harness to fit your needs. And when it comes back, it's 4 or 5 wires to get this thing running. So it's very simple to do using the Toyota Land Cruiser factory electronic wiring diagram. You can find exactly where you want things to hook up pretty easily. So I got that back from him in about 3 weeks. So there's the factory computer mounted over there on the driver's side fender. Using one of his brackets that I got from Mitch at SwapTime as well. I modified it a little bit to fit those bolt holes. And then the factory transmission control is just mounted right here on some existing holes I found in the firewall, which is working out just fine. I did delete the heater valve, just didn't want one more thing to worry about failing on me. So it just pumps straight to the heater core all the time. Doesn't bother me. This is not a daily driver. This is just a trail rig / camping rig for the family. AC is on the way. I have a guy coming to make me some factory lines. So that'll run from the GM compressor there to the factory ports, and then to the whatever the little factory thing is down here. I forget what it's called, but you know, that weird cylinder thing, we're going to relocate it anyway. So the Torfab kit got it installed, and the SwapTime kit got it up and running. From there I went to an exhaust shop, and they did a 2-into-1, kind of goes over the transfer case. Might be a little dark to show you, but I'll try. It's a 2-in-1, goes over the transfer case over there into this MagnaFlow 1298 or 12198 muffler. I think it sounds great. And then to just a little chrome tip that kind of dumps out underneath the back here. Kind of hard to see in the dark, sorry. On the interior, everything kind of just remains factory. Gosh, it's dark in here. Sorry, guys. Anyway, factory shifter is retained. You do have to use the older style transfer case shift lever. So Torfab dictates that, or notates that on his website, that you have to get that that older, I guess it's a 90 to 94 or 91 to 94 shift lever. So you have to have that in order to run his adapter, but small price to pay, pretty easy part to hunt down. On cooling, I am running a CSF all aluminum radiator, just a factory replacement style radiator. Nothing really fancy there. And then this is also made by Torfab, so it's his twin spall fan mount that goes in the factory to a location and mounts you twin spall GM style spall fans that are pulse width modulated, controlled. So they ramp up and ramp down from 0 RPMs all the way to full blast, depending on the needs from the computer. And this little wire here runs from my factory GM computer, and using the thermostat and the temperature sensors, it ramps those fans up and down, and they're controlled by their own. There's their own relay and power source here. Ramps those things up and down. They draw a lot less amperage than some of your just big on or off fans, which keeps some load off of the system there. But it's been a great setup. I'm averaging between 190 and 210, 206 degrees, and that's been last couple of days. I've put about 200 miles on the truck. It's been about 90 degrees in the afternoon, and of course it sounds good and it's fun to drive, so I haven't exactly been easy on it, and so the temperature has been holding in a great range there. I'm still running the factory style airbox. This is 3.5-inch piping. It needs to be 4-inch piping. I haven't gotten any codes, or I haven't felt any lack of power, but everyone tells me it's so. It might be fine. I might just leave it alone, or I might have somebody make me some fancy intake, I guess. Let's see, that covers mounting it, covers computer, covers cooling. The shifter, details on how I did the shifter is on my build thread, which I'll link at the bottom of this video. Let's go fuel. So fuel, I did convert to all 6AN. Just running a off-the-shelf fuel regulator. Everything online tells you it needs to be 73 PSI on these LTs. After talking to Mitch, Mitch told me that if it's between 57 and 65, it'll run great. So I turned it down just to limit some pressure running through this thing to about 60, 65 pounds, and it's been running great. But converting all of that to 6AN was really nice. You see where it comes off of it's where it's coming off of the factory GM fuel rail into the regulator. This is my brake valve or booster line here, and then everything else is 6AN, just mounted right there to the firewall. So going 6AN, I highly recommend it. That is 6AN. My power steering is all 6A in. I used the Tejas Saginaw power steering kit. So there's your high and low pressure. The high pressure, make sure it is stainless steel. Do a stainless steel high pressure rated line, or you will blow that thing with that Saginaw pump. Wish I could show you the Saginaw pump, but doing the Tejas kit, it mounts it way down here. It is, gosh, I can't even get my camera in there. But it is below the water pump and it is out of sight, which makes it present well, but it is kind of a pain to get to it. If I was going to do it again, I'd find me a power steering kit that would put it more up here, or at least remote mount the reservoir. But that's the kit I did, so that's what I went with. It's been working fine. It's just down underneath and you can reach it better and get to the lines and stuff from underneath the truck relatively easily. It's just hard for me to show you that on camera. And then I also converted, again, probably not going to be able to see these. Those little red fittings there, those are the transmission cooler. Converted those to 6A in using some, I believe it's 3/8 hardline. Then those adapters go from 6A in hardline to just some soft line. And then it's running to the factory Toyota transmission cooler. And there's one side, it's just hose clamped past that little barb. And then your other side down there, again, just hose clamp past that little barb. Oh, and then that there is my power steering cooler. That pretty much covers that. So since completing the swap, I have about 250 miles or so, and it's been fantastic. The power from the L86 mixed with that 10-speed transmission is just, it's a lot of fun in these old Land Cruisers, to be honest. If you get on the throttle, it's finding a gear almost instantly and you're off. So in July, we're taking off to Colorado to do 10 days in the Telluride Ouray area, and I'm towing my 3,200 pound camper, and I have no doubt that it's going to do it with no problem, even in those hills and mountains and stuff. It's just, I think it's going to do great. So kind of leaving a stop sign here. That was 60. Gosh, it's just, they really have no business having this much power, to be honest, but it's almost like this is how it should have come from the factory. And like I said before, this one came out of a 2018 Yukon Denali XL that had been sideswiped, and I picked the whole thing up from Copart. Pretty cheap, I think like $4,000 is what I ended up paying for the whole drivetrain, which is kind of low compared to what I found out there. So there are deals to be had. And then using Mitch at SwapTime for all the computer stuff and the transmission stuff, he's been a great help. And I pulled it out of the box, plugged everything in, wired up to his specifications, and drove out of the driveway. So between SwapTime kit and Torfab's installation kit for the Gen 5 LTs, it's kind of a hard combination to beat. So for 12, 13 grand, and I probably spent some money on things I didn't need. A lot of parts stacked up that need to go back to Summit or Jegs or wherever I ordered it. So if you're smart about it, you can get it done for 10 to 12 and just have an absolute monster of an 80 series. Who doesn't want an all-wheel drive, 420 horsepower, just beast? That's kind of good for everything. It's just, want that. So anyway, any questions, I'll link my build thread at the bottom of this video, so make sure to follow that. As I make improvements or changes, or if I find that things just flat out didn't work a long time, I'll make sure I update that build thread, and we'll go from there.